Welcome to the Let's Talk BS podcast. I'm Bryan.
And I'm Sofia, and we're coming to you live from the
757.
Good morning, Bryan.
Hey, good morning, Sofia. How you doing?
I'm doing pretty good.
That's good.
You know what today is?
Yeah, today.
Our first day recording.
Yeah. We finally in front of the camera. People can see who they've been hearing for the last couple months, right?
I know. It's exciting and scary all in one.
Nah, man, it ain't scary, man. It's good. It's all good. It's all love. But how you been doing? How's everything going with you?
I'm doing pretty good.
That's
I'm
good.
doing pretty good.
That's good.
So, we got these hoodies. I want to give a big shout out to Lewis, which is Bryan's childhood friend, right?
Nah, not childhood friend. I met Lewis through a mutual friend, his cousin actually. My boy Kevin introduced us probably like maybe 9 years ago, I want to say. And so Lewis is a good buddy of mine, fan of the podcast. He's down in Georgia. He used to live here, and him and his wife moved down there about 4 or 5 years ago. And he's a big listener. He always gives me some good feedback, gives good praises to the podcast. And so we told him we were going to be going live here soon. And so he was like, hey, man, I think we should, I'm going to hook you up with something nice. And so he created this hoodie for both of us.
Yes.
So it's definitely cool. We appreciate the kind gesture. So definitely want to make sure that, he understands and knows that. So, yeah, definitely shout out to
thank you so much. It's a dope sweater. I love it.
Definitely.
And I love hoodies. So, I am the sweatshirt and sweatpants type of person at the house. So, love it.
Yeah, me too. I understand it.
Love it.
Yeah.
So, how was the B-Day weekend? What you do?
Oh, man. B-Day was love. It was love, man. I think Beyonce had an album, I think some
B-Day?
years ago called B-Day, right?
Yep.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
B-Day for Beyonce, B-Day, yeah. That's fire. But my B-Day was cool, man. It was cool. We I think last week, the actual Friday, it kicked off with my wife having a great surprise birthday breakfast for me with a couple of my friends and their wives. So that was pretty cool. Friday, Saturday, we had initially planned to go out to eat. But Saturday was like a really dreary day. It rained all day.
It was.
So we actually sat there, and in the morning time we decorated our Christmas tree. So every year we get a real tree. So we had decorated the Christmas tree. The kids loved it. Hung the stockings, put lights up. They're really into this year holiday. So they're really having a great time with that. So we did that. We watched a couple Christmas, movies, shows and stuff, and then we also watched Wednesday. So. That's a Netflix special, for one of the characters in the Addams Family, Wednesday. And that was good. I mean, I watched a couple episodes earlier in the week. It's kind of hard to find time to watch it because we, with some of the stuff in it, it's not too bad. But, with our young children, we didn't necessarily want them to be around watching it. So while one was taking a nap and the other one is in his room playing, excuse me, we watched a couple episodes, and then that night, once they went down for sleep, we finished it. And it was really good. I would say that
was a really good show.
Yeah,
I watched it with my teenager.
He did, yeah. It was really good.
She put me on it. She was like, you should watch this. And I said, girl, I don't do scary. She was like, it's not scary. It just looks crazy. I was like, okay.
Because it really wasn't that scary.
It wasn't scary at all.
They had some gory, it was just some gory stuff where they had this, the hide they called him was this wild beast animal who would it was killing people. You know what I'm saying? But you didn't really see that much of it though.
You see more than that in Criminal Minds. I mean, I feel like so.
Yeah,
it wasn't scary at all. I watched it.
Yeah.
And I'm a scary cat. Okay, look,
scary
scared
cat.
of everything.
I hear you. But yeah, so that's Saturday. We did that. We ended up ordering food from this restaurant called Sofia. I think it's Sofia.
Mm-hmm.
It's black owned. Like I said, we typically try to patronize our folks when it comes to eating local and also eating from places that are black owned. So we had one of my buddies had a birthday dinner there earlier this year, and we went and we had a good time. So we ended up grabbing some food from there, and it was good. We had some fried fish, fried chicken. It was really good. And so that's kind of how we spent Saturday.
Fried chicken sound good.
Yeah, it was. It was really, really good.
Fried chicken in I don't know how long.
Oh, for real? Yeah. See, me, I like fried chicken a lot. I grew up, growing up, we would either eat fried chicken or fried pork chops, every other day. That's how it was. Yeah. But I know how fried food is, like, so I try to like limit the amount of times I do it, but when I do it, like, I love it. You know what I mean?
Yeah, nah, I ain't grew up eating that every other day. That was like a delicacy in my house.
Okay. Yeah, we used to eat them. Don't get me wrong, we would go to the commissary, load up, and get a whole bunch of them, and we would eat them pretty frequently. I mean, I may be exaggerating a little bit like every other day, but it was.
I mean, on
it
a
seemed
weekly
like
basis.
It. Yeah, it seemed like every
that
year.
was in rotation.
That was in rotation.
What you're trying to say.
Heavily.
No, it wasn't in rotation for us.
Gotcha.
No. But needless to say, I know what fried chicken is, and I love it.
Yeah.
So,
So
I don't like cooking it in my house though. I don't like the way it smells after.
For real? Fried chicken? Oh, that smells? Okay.
Like I like when it's cooking how it smells. I'm talking about when you're done and you've cleaned up and you've done everything. Yeah. That your house still smell like chicken. Yeah. I don't like that. Okay. I want my house to get back to the normal.
The normal aromas.
Smell, yes.
Burn some candles or something while you cooking some chicken. I don't know.
I mean, I do.
Okay. That's still
like
overpowers it.
Fried food has a different. I don't know.
Nice.
Maybe it's just me. I don't know. Y'all tell me what y'all think.
I don't know. Anyway, so yeah, Saturday that was that, and then Sunday, I pretty much relaxed, watched football, and then my kids had their Christmas concert, which was really, really nice. My folks came out. My sister came. Brooke, her mother, and her aunt came. And so we were pretty deep there, checking out both of the youngins, sing. And my daughter, she had, because she's 2, their part was very small. So they were only up there for like 2 songs. And then she came and sat with us. But then my son, he killed it, man. I ain't gonna lie. Like, I wasn't expecting him to do what he did. But I mean, he was on the end. He was in the front row. And I mean, he was like, they sung about 8 or 9 songs, and I mean every single song he was doing the arm movements. He was knowing every word. Like, I was like, I can't even remember like certain things, like words on certain stuff that I've seen and read so many times. Like, he literally knew all the words to the song. It wasn't like your standard jingle bells. It was like actual like Christmas songs like this music teacher taught them or whatever. Wow. So I was impressed. I even had parents come up to me after that and was like, hey, like, your son's gonna be a performer. He was the star of the show, and I kept getting those people come to me and say that. I even posted it on social media, and like, a lot of people were like, man, he killed it. He did really well.
Look, if y'all don't follow Bryan on social media, that video was hilarious. He was singing this song. He was like this.
Yeah, he opened his arms up. And I apologized to the parent, like the girl that was beside him. The parent, they sat not too far from us, and so after it was over, I went up to him and apologized because, like she said, Niall was like throwing his arms, and like it was like right in the girl's face. Now, he never like really hit her, but it was like close. You know what I'm saying? So I was like, I felt like it may have like took her away from her moment and her part of it or whatever. But no, it was cool. That was like really the highlight. That, and obviously the brunch that Brooke set up for me was the highlight of the birthday weekend, man. We had a great time. I even brought a couple of tears to my eyes. I ain't even gonna lie. You know what I mean? Just to see my son, and see it. It's just crazy when like you see your kids do stuff and it brings it brings you to that emotion like at home or just amongst you and your family. But when we have other folks that acknowledge something that your child is doing, I don't know, it just hits different. This is like one of the first times that it's happened too. So it was kind of like, it really touched me. So I was happy for that, man. So yeah, that was the birthday weekend. It was 36 now, and it kicked off and had a great time. So it's good.
Well, for me, I feel like I celebrated your birthday. So no, in all seriousness though. So we went to open gym on Sunday, which we do every week, because I told you guys that I am assisting and helping out coaching for my daughter's volleyball team. So after we left open gym, we were hungry. It was about 4:30-ish, so we were leading right into dinner time. So I gave the kids an option. Actually, no. Someone told me about this place called Watergate that sells fried chicken.
Okay.
Right?
She was on the same fried chicken wave I was.
I must have been.
Okay.
So
I haven't heard of that. You said Watergate?
Yeah,
Watergate?
It's called Watergate. It's in like a shop, like a bodega. Like I don't think y'all call.
Norfolk?
Yeah.
Okay.
I don't think y'all call stores bodegas here, but
yeah, that's up north.
Yeah. No, it's down
south too.
Yeah.
Okay, I always heard like bodegas like in New York
up
and
north
stuff.
too. Yeah, maybe larger cities.
Okay,
maybe that's what it is. Okay.
There you go.
So I went down to Norfolk to go see, because I asked the person who told me about it, I was like, "You think is it kid? Like, can I bring my kids there?" Type of thing. They were like, "Yeah, I get there." No, you cannot take kids there at all.
What was wrong?
It was just in the hood. Like, it was in the hood. It was like, the guy standing outside the door, probably
politicking.
That's another word for it.
Politicking. Yeah.
So I was like, I rode past. I said, nah, I don't even feel comfortable. I don't feel comfortable leaving my kids in the car, and I don't feel comfortable bringing them in. So I went ahead and went back to my neck of the woods, and we ended up going to Mod's Pizza. Because I had never been there before. Okay. So when I walked in, it was pretty cool. It's like the Subway of pizza.
Yeah,
like you go in there, you get to pick all your toppings. Yeah. It's pretty cool. I liked it.
That was your first time doing something like that?
First time for pizza.
Oh, wow. Okay.
So I ended up making this like ultimate veggie pizza that ended up being amazing. And I made my base pizza sauce and barbecue. Look, I was in there like doing it up.
Oh, wow. Okay.
So then we had a bunch of pizza. I bought like 3 pizza for me and the kids. And we decided there was a Duck Donuts right next door. So we got a half a dozen of Duck Donuts. Then we went to the Norfolk Botanical Gardens to go look at the Christmas lights. So we had, the donuts, and they had hot chocolate. So we walked through, ate the donuts, did the hot chocolate thing because it was kind of chilly that night. And I have this wagon that I use during like sports season.
Yeah.
So, the little, my son, which is 3, he had the choice of either sitting down in the wagon or hopping out and walking with us, but he wanted to be a big boy and walk. So we pretty much had the wagon just to hold the snacks.
This was Saturday? This is all the same day?
No, this was all Sunday, actually.
Sunday, okay.
Yeah,
okay.
This was Sunday.
Okay.
So after that, we came home. My husband had duty that day, and, we just took showers because we had a long day.
Yeah.
And then my son, he was just amped up. Like, he was on one. I don't know what. I don't know if it was donuts.
Yeah, I was about to say.
I don't know.
Because Duck Donuts good, too. I like Duck Donuts.
He don't usually eat stuff like that, right? Yeah. So we get to the house, and I'm like, dude, you got to go to sleep. Like, it's time. It's about 8:39 now. I'm like I did all I can do as a person for the day, right?
Yeah.
As a parent. So I turn on the fireplace. I start playing Silent Night, the Christmas song, Silent Night.
Classic.
By the Temptations.
Oh, yeah, classic.
5 minutes. He was done. He was done.
Oh, he went to sleep?
5 minutes.
Oh, wow.
I said, ooh, I'm going to have to start playing this every night.
So he needed something just soothing to put him down.
Yeah.
That's what's up. That's what's up.
Yeah, like I said, we pretty much celebrated your birthday, but not for real, not intentionally. We just, had a good time.
Had a good weekend.
Yeah.
That's cool.
Yeah, it was pretty cool.
That's real cool, man. I appreciate, like I said, I got a lot of birthday love, a lot of texts, phone calls. Mm-hmm. It was cool. I definitely felt the birthday love, and, definitely in a good place, man. I'm just excited. I mean, I ate a lot of birthday cake, too. Mm-hmm. My wife, she got us, there's a place called Sweet Cream. Local spot as well that's Black owned that we get all of our cakes from there. I mean, every birthday, every celebration, we always get the cakes from there. So she got me a nice small cake from there. So we ate that this weekend, and then honestly this week at work, I was given a cake as well. Which was pretty cool. It was like a pound cake from some spot in Norfolk that they had told me about, but it was good. It was like a cookies and cream pound cake. It tasted good. I mean, the kids really didn't get to eat much of it because the night that we had it, we brought it home. They didn't eat their dinner, and so we have a rule in our house: if you don't eat dinner, you don't get dessert.
Right.
So they didn't eat much. So Brooke and I, we really just tore that thing up. Like I even got mad at her when I came home from work, and I remember how much was left. Like when I left that day, and I came back, it was like half of that was gone. I'm like, what in the world? Like, you know what I'm saying? Yeah. I was like, it was some good cake, man. So, and I'm a sweets guy. Like that's something that's my weakness. You know what I'm saying? Like I do work out. I go to the gym. Basically 4 times a week. So I try to keep my shape. But as far as the sweets, that's my guilty pleasure.
Yeah.
Like I work out just so I can eat those things. You know what I'm saying? So cakes and stuff like that. That's my thing. And like I said, we ate them and it's good. It was really, really good. We had a good birthday weekend for sure.
See, I'm not a cake person. Yeah, I don't like icing. I think that's the dilemma that I have. It's I like the bread. I don't like the icing.
Yeah, you like it's funny because Brooke, she'll eat she's like how what you just said. So she'll literally, we have a thing where she'll eat the cake and she may eat a little bit of icing, but a lot of times they put a lot of icing on the cake,
Correct.
right? So they put a lot of icing. It's the thing where it's just when she starts eating, she'll just she'll get a spoon or something and take all her icing off of it, and she'll put it on my plate. And I'll wipe it into mine, or I just eat the icing by itself or something. Yeah.
My gosh,
I love the icing. I like both. You know what I'm saying? Yeah. But the icing, I'm they're equally,
Yeah, nah, I can't do the icing. I'm the same way. Like I'm the person who get the cake and I turn it upside down.
Oh wow.
So then I eat it from the breaded part. Yeah, the cake part.
Oh wow.
Yeah. So then when I get to the icing, I mean it's already on the bottom. Yeah. So it's done. I just throw the whole thing away.
Yeah. That's crazy.
Yeah. So and my daughter, she liked the icing.
She liked the icing too.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. It's the best part, man. Yeah, it's the best part, man.
Nah.
I love it, man.
Nah.
But yeah, so like I said, I again appreciate all the birthday love. It was definitely welcomed and felt great. I feel like last week we had a lot of mortgage and real estate stuff that was just going on in the industry, right? That we gave.
Right.
But this week I feel like it's a lot more just like real, just life stuff that's been going on, that's been in the media.
A lot of tea.
There you go. Yeah, a lot of tea. That's the term, right? A lot of tea that's been going on. I remember earlier this week, you had bring it up to me that something was going on at your daughter's school, right? As far as something, I can't remember exactly, some type of club.
In the school district.
In the school district, okay.
Yeah,
okay.
It was in the school district. So I know you guys have seen like on social media Baller Alert and the Shade Room and stuff like that. So the city of Chesapeake in Virginia, there was a particular school that was allowing for a Satan.
It was like
satanic, or I don't even know how to pronounce their Satanic club.
Yeah.
And it was basically they were looking to use the space. Well, what everybody had the uproar about was that they didn't realize that the actual school and all your city buildings like libraries and things like that's something that can be used to the public, right?
Correct.
And so all they did was just request to use the space after school. And the reason why they requested it was because they felt like that they couldn't be discriminated against because there were like Christian meetings at the school and stuff like that was non-affiliated with the school but were being held in the dwelling of the school, right?
Yeah.
So it became an uproar, and of course the superintendent had to reach out to all the Chesapeake schools and let everybody know what was going on. Ultimately, they withdrew their request and there's not going to be a meeting held anymore.
Okay.
But it happened, and it was like
I seen I seen it on the news.
Yeah.
I seen like on social media.
Yeah,
I seen a buddy of mine that I used to play ball with. I think his kid goes to school. I remember you saying I think your child goes to the school that they were trying to do it at. But yeah, that was wild. Like I saw, like you said, I saw it and like the flyer on social media, and it was like, you're right. It seemed like the school was promoting this type of situation, but like you said, I did find out later that it wasn't necessarily the school that was promoting it. It's just they were trying to use that particular school, the location, to have this meeting, and they invited, I guess basically whoever was willing to come for it. But yeah, I get it though. Like, I mean, even though it's, you don't want you don't want people to be your loved ones to be around that, to be influenced, especially at a young age. No. I mean, I remember them passing a law, because I remember hearing something about this like in another state where it's like, hey, if you're able to speak about the gospel of Jesus Christ and have those conversations and put religion into school in that way, then you can't discriminate on what side of that conversation that you're going to allow in school or not allow in school, but just allow to have in general. You know what I'm saying? So I understand the whole aspect of it, but I think it was just kind of pushed out, how the media is and how the stuff is. Like, it just kind of pushed out.
I think that group specifically put that school on the flyer to make it seem that way. That was the uproar. Because I believe, and I could be wrong, that if that flyer had not had that school's name on there and it simply just had the address, nobody would have recognized that it was the actual school.
I think that's a good point. I think because you see that,
it was bigger than the actual club name. Like, they've had the name of the school blasted on the front, and the name of the group was like this big. It was tiny in the corner or right below. It was crazy. I was like, yeah, this is nuts.
Yeah, that is crazy.
But besides that, I mean, some other big news happened.
What else?
Britney?
Oh yeah, that was just yesterday. Yeah. Britney Griner.
I can never remember how to say her last name.
Oh yeah, Griner, like you grinding something.
Oh, okay.
You know what I'm saying?
Grinder.
Yeah.
She's a grinder.
Well, I guess take out the D, so it's not
Griner.
Grinder. Yeah, Griner. Yeah, there you go.
Okay.
Yeah, Griner,
but
yeah. So she was released. I think we had talked about it on a previous episode when she, had gotten put into jail
that
there in
camp
Russia.
Or something.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
So she and that's a big conversation I seen on social media, man. A lot of folks had a lot of different things to say about it because, it was obviously her coming home, but they had to trade for that person I mentioned in a previous episode.
And they don't feel like it's an equal trade.
Correct, yeah, because the guy Victor Bout was an arms dealer, and he was giving guns and of mass destruction to dangerous people who were harming the U.S.
Mm-hmm.
Right? So he was a very dangerous person, and Britney Griner, in the grand scheme of things, she's a basketball player, professional basketball player, and they felt that it was a lot of people were happy that she came home, but it was like we freed this person who could be a threat to a lot of people. You know what I'm saying? And so I don't know. It was crazy. Like I said, I had conversations with a couple of different folks about it yesterday. I'm happy that a black woman was released. I feel like that. She did do something that was illegal in other countries. So, and then honestly, just being truthful about it, that was the judgment that they put on her, and it's really nothing that we as United States could do about it because it was on another country's soil. But we all know, just being real about the situation, know that didn't warrant the amount of time that she was getting. They were just using her as a political pawn, and it worked. Really, if you think about it from Russia's standpoint, they really wanted to have this gentleman to be freed, right? And they put a big sentence on her because they knew that, hey, we could have this conversation with the United States. So really, from Russian standpoint, it is a win in that regard. But at the end of the day, I'm happy that she is home, and that's really what I've paid attention to more of. I don't know exactly. I'm not a politician, and how all that stuff is or whatever. But it is. I can understand mixed emotions about the situation.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying?
That makes sense. Yeah. I get that.
Yeah. It's
unfortunate.
Yeah, it is unfortunate, man. It's unfortunate. That's why I always try to not put myself in situations where other people can control my destiny. You know what I'm saying? Control my freedom. You know what I'm saying? So it's just like being mindful of what's going on and where you're at. So these situations don't happen, man, because it's you can get caught up in something that you're not even a part of.
Nope. And you didn't even have intentions to cause harm.
Correct.
That makes sense.
So I was reading they were gonna have to do all these checks with her, make sure she's mentally, mentally stable, and make sure she's physically stable, because it's like the living conditions they had her in was pretty hard, as from what I understand. So so we'll definitely keep an eye out on her, see how she's doing. It's crazy, the power of media too. Again, that shows it. Like, I think, honestly, if it wasn't so much uproar about the situation, I don't know if they would have ever been willing to make this trade. I think it was just like a lot of people were talking about it. A lot of people were putting it out there. Professional athletes were talking about it. The news was talking about it. And I think it really pushed it to the point where, like, something had to happen. And so I'm glad that
same thing with the school in Chesapeake. Same exact thing.
Yeah, it shows you the power of people, man, the power of the community, man. If we really want some change or something to happen, if we fight hard enough, come together, things could definitely change, and it could change pretty quickly too. So and also it also sucks because I know a lot of people were saying, like, there's another person who's also in Russian custody.
Oh yeah, he's been there for like a year. What did he do?
He's been there, I think, even longer than that.
They said he was a spy or something like that.
Yeah. He's a Marine. He's a former Marine.
Yeah.
And so he was actually supposed to be a part of that, and so a lot of people were complaining about that as well. I've seen people talk about that, and and that's why I said, at the media, like, he wasn't really looked at as a polarizing figure in this situation, and that's just kind of sometimes how it is. The media can drive narratives and make things seem more bigger than what it really is, and that's just kind of what the situation is, man. But definitely thinking about him too. Want him to come home amongst all the other folks who's been that are in situations that are like that, so.
Yeah.
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 Now, on a high note, Rush Hour 4 is supposed to be coming out.
I saw that too.
I'm so excited. I don't know if you guys are excited, but I have a teenager that's getting ready to go to high school, and I actually introduced her to Rush Hour just here recently within the last 6 months or so.
Oh, for real?
Yes.
Okay.
So I told her the news, and she was like, "Oh my God, I'm so excited!" I was like, "I said, I see you Gen Zs all over our millennial, music, movies.
Yeah,
I mean, they love everything.
But you see, that's what they do. Like this generation, a lot of the stuff is just like copying. They put their little spin on it. But honestly, we did the same thing though, because I remember like a lot of the music. A lot of stuff isn't original stuff. I mean, don't get me wrong, there are a lot of original stuff too, but a lot of times, man, it's like, like the music that I grew up on, if you listen, it's a lot of music that was sampled from the 80s and the 70s and stuff.
Oh, yeah,
of course. And then movies, but
no, what I mean by that is I'm not talking about recreating, because that's one thing.
Correct.
Okay, cool. They legit still listen to our music like it's theirs.
That's a good point.
You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Like I hear my daughter listening to Kendrick Lamar, like his original stuff.
Yeah,
you know what I mean?
Yeah.
Like, you weren't even born yet, girl. Like stuff like that, it's like, man. But yeah, she's watched Friday, she's watched Rush Hour.
Oh, it's classics.
Stuff like that.
Yeah, I remember Rush Hour, man.
She listens to like Snoop Dogg, Michael Jackson. I mean, I told her, I said,
that's
Michael Jackson is before me.
Yeah, that's good. That's classic. I listen to Michael Jackson all the time. That's classic music, man. That's good. Like that, I call it timeless music. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
It doesn't matter the times, because if you look at what we used to wear 10, 15 years ago, what we wore in the 90s, 80s, 70s, all that stuff, fads, things like that stuff changes. But when you have good music, it defies time. It's timeless music, man.
Yeah.
So yeah, a lot of those people you mentioned, make timeless music where it doesn't matter what's going on. I mean, it's good, it's feel good music. You know what I'm saying?
And then on another, I don't know if this is considered high, but I mean, in my opinion, it's high. On another high note, Nia Long finally left the coach.
Yeah, I saw that too. Yeah, I saw that on SportsCenter. Yeah, Ime Udoka. Remember they had the whole situation that went down that he lost his job as being coach for the Celtics. I saw that because I didn't know what happened. Like, I mean, obviously I know, what happened as far as him getting caught, I guess, with a woman who worked for the Boston Celtics. But then after that, I didn't know exactly, like, it didn't say, like, if they were together still. Like, well, it was kind of just like, whatever, which is obviously that's their private life. I mean, it don't matter to me. But I did see that, that she did say that they're not. I guess she might have had an interview or something and was talking about it. Because I think there's a movie that's getting ready to come out that she's in. I think they were talking about it and somebody asked her.
The Best Man.
That's what it is, The Best Man?
Yeah.
Okay.
The Best Man. Man, look, The Best Man is another classic.
Oh, yeah, it's a classic.
Another classic.
Yeah, 100% classic.
Yeah. So I actually saw an interview where, she was just more, she was like, look, she said basically, like, out of everything that happened, right, the Celtics didn't even reach out to her or her kid to see if she was okay. Putting all that information out there. They made it public, which that could have been a private
that's a private matter. Yeah, it is a private matter. That could have been that's an HR issue. Correct. Honestly, that's not something that. Well, he's a black man. They were trying to publicly humiliate him.
Yeah,
that's
make
what
an
it was.
example out of him once again, right?
Yeah.
And she just was like, all that. I guess their son must be old enough to kind of like know what's going on to a certain extent. Yeah. And she was just upset that her son had to deal with the public humility.
Yeah.
I
can understand that.
And I'm with her, that's just, it's one thing for that to happen, okay. But then now everybody, I mean, the whole world knows it happens.
Correct.
It happened, I mean. And then now the son knows. And who's to say that won't damage the relationship between the son and the father?
Correct. But like I said, again, it's a black man. He was being successful in this job. He was doing good his first year coaching. They made it to the NBA Finals, and they wanted to publicly humiliate him. I mean, that's just what it comes down to. Like, I mean, it's as simple as that. You know what I mean? So again, it's someone getting drugged through the media, getting not being put in a situation where it's like they're trying to create a bigger message, and she was just a part of that situation, unfortunately, and then that's what had that negative impact on them. But yeah, and another thing that happened this past week was Deion Sanders.
Oh,
so
yeah.
that was something. My guy Prime Time.
That was big too.
Yeah, that was a big thing. Prime is he's been coaching over at Jackson State now for 3 years, and he's shed a lot of light on HBCUs, right? And so that's a thing that a lot of folks I know have been talking about over the years, as far as a lot of athletes, especially football and basketball mainly, most of them are black, right? I think they says like 70% of them are African American. So a lot of times, though, they go to these other universities for opportunity to try to get to the NFL, to earn a living. And but a lot of times, these athletes could potentially go to an HBCU, right, and support and bring money to that program, which helps the black community, right? And so Deion Prime, he really hit that message home, and that was one of the reasons why he coached Jackson State. He had some of his both of his kids actually come play as well, and they could have went to other schools, but they came to play where their dad was coaching at.
Do they still play?
Yeah, so I'll touch on that. Yeah,
okay.
So both of his kids came to Jackson State and played, and what Prime was able to do is he was able to basically turn that program around, right? He was able to get a lot more money to be put into the program, a lot more attention on what was going on. He was able to get recruits who were being recruited at these higher schools, like your Alabamas, your Floridas, your Ohio States. Like, he got a lot of recruits that could have went to those schools. They bought into his message, and they came to play for Jackson State. And Jackson State went undefeated this year. Like, they had a great year. They won their conference. They won their conference last year. So they're doing really well. But what ended up happening is he got a job offer to Colorado, so University of Colorado, and a lot of people were giving him backlash about that, right? And so for me, and the reason they were doing it, just to touch on it, is because Colorado obviously is not a HBCU, right? And a lot of folks were just like, hey man, you sold us this message of building up our community, building up to HBCUs and all that, and then you just left 3 years into you building up what you had started. And so for me, a lot of times, and I hate to say this, but a lot of times in our community, we're looking for people to be our savior. You know what I'm saying? And I feel like Deion, the whole time, I mean, I listened to what he said. He said that.
Yeah, I saw the interview too.
Yeah, he said that he would potentially, if there's an opportunity elsewhere that he felt would be best for him.
If it was on the table, he would consider it as well.
Exactly. And this job, from my understanding, obviously is paying more. He's going to have a bigger touch because of because of how big the program is. And he's still a black man coaching, you know what I'm saying? And there's never been a situation where a black man that was coaching the HBCU has been elevated to be able to get a job at a D1 school like that at a Power 5 conference. And he's the first one to do that, you know what I mean? But people aren't talking about that. Like, that's a huge accomplishment, right? And he's still able to spread his message on that level, right? And have more money and more resources to be able to do that, right? But everybody wants to say, hey, man, you said you was going to do this, you were sell out and all this, man. And I just think that's corny, because a lot of folks who are saying these things, one, they ain't never been to HBCU. If they had the opportunity to go to HBCU or somewhere else, a lot of them went to another school. And then on top of that, they wanting this person to be their savior, and they wouldn't have done none of the things that this man has done.
The
sacrifices, right? They wouldn't have done it, you know what I mean? And they're not doing it actively in their life. So I all that noise, man, I just hate it. A lot of times it's us, man. We'll pull each other down when we see somebody who's doing something in a positive light, because we're projecting our expectations on them versus, just uplifting them and trying to help them, especially if we're not willing to do the things that person's doing. So.
Yeah, well, I mean, I agree. I definitely agree with that. We can't expect for him to save everybody.
Yeah.
He did what he had to do. His message got out there,
and he's still doing it.
And he's
just because you change jobs doesn't mean that you're gonna he's changing what he's saying and who he is. He's still the same person.
Correct. Yep. So I agree with you wholeheartedly.
Sorry, I got worked up on that one, man. I just hate it sometimes, man. Be our own people, man.
I don't even know what to say.
Yeah, be our own people, man, to be trying to pull us down.
Dion, you in there?
Right? You stupid. Right? I'm a second cousin or something. You know what I'm saying? Yeah.
right. Well, on another high note, we're gonna slip. It's like we're going in waves today, right? Yeah. On another high note, you got some good news in personal, right? You're going under contract on some land, right?
Yeah. Definitely should happen. Hopefully today.
Yeah.
There's a piece of land out in Suffolk that me and my builder were looking at yesterday, and we were able to kind of talk through some stuff, and I feel like it's a good opportunity.
Correct.
So we've been in communication with the seller, and we're hoping to try to get that wrapped up today, or at least at some point this weekend. So
and then the property that you were actually going to hold and rent out, you have decided to sell it.
Yeah.
Which is great.
Yeah. We were
here in Virginia Beach.
Yeah, Virginia Beach. Like I said, it was a property that got a couple months ago, and was definitely going to put a tenant in there. But as we kind of evaluate some numbers and where the market is right now, I'm thinking that we could sell it. I was talking to my wife about it. We were kind of going over stuff, and I'm thinking that we could sell it, and the money we would make off that, put it into something else that would give us a higher return. So
correct.
Just kind of be strategic about how things are going. I think that'll be the best move for us.
Yep. And then you still have that new construction property in Suffolk.
Yep.
For sale.
Yeah,
it'll be finished here in the next week or so.
Yeah. I mean, it's I was talking to the same guy, same builder that we were looking at, that I was talking to yesterday.
For the land.
Yeah, for the land, we were having a conversation, and he was showing me pictures. I mean, they put the granite countertops in. The flooring is done. I mean, all that stuff is
nice.
Is pretty much done. He said next week the plumber's out of town, which kind of sucks. So there's some plumbing things that needs to be done. But once he gets back, he'll be able to put the final touches on that. But and the appliances will be in next week as well. So I mean, he said the house is
pretty
ready
much
to roll.
done.
Yeah, so definitely looking forward to try to get that one. So hopefully get that one under contract by the end of the year before the holiday.
So with the appliances, right? Yep. Tell me, are you the person that wants everything to match, or do you not care?
That's a good question, because I've actually had this conversation with Brooke before. So me personally, so it depends, right? So in my own house where I live, yeah, I want everything to match. Now, I've done houses where I've flipped and done new construction houses where I just try to get the best deal on cost, right?
Yeah.
Make sure, obviously, they were all stainless steel, or make sure they were all, the same type of material. But the name, to me, didn't matter. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
But she brought to my attention, hey, this just looked kind of, you know what I'm saying? Then I remember one time we had a flip, and a person actually brought it up, was like, this is a Samsung this, and a Frigidaire this, and a Whirlpool that. I'm like, so ever since then, I've now grouped all the names to be together.
Okay.
Yeah. What about you? How you feel about that?
So for me specifically, I don't really care. As long as it looks nice, I'm cool with it. Now, the only thing that I will look at is that if it's something that's major brand and the logo is huge, so say... For example, I know Whirlpool, for example, right? They don't always put their logo and display it like on every item that they have. Because I actually have a Whirlpool microwave, and if you look at it on a naked eye, you would never know it's a Whirlpool,
okay.
Right?
Okay.
But some of the things that they do have, they actually label, right?
Okay.
My dishwasher in my personal house, I don't even know what brand it is, but there's nothing there that tells you like, hey, this is a Samsung or whatever the case may be. But then my stove is a Samsung.
Gotcha.
So nobody would ever know, right?
Gotcha.
And the only reason why the things that I have now don't match is because Samsung is pretty crappy to me.
They are.
Everything, when I first bought my house, I bought everything in Samsung. I thought I was big shit.
Yeah.
I was like, oh, this is
That's
going to be
with
nice.
TVs. All my TVs are Samsung.
Oh, of course.
Yeah.
I'm not talking about your TVs.
Yeah,
I'm talking about appliances specifically.
Yeah.
And I bought everything. Washer, dryer, stove. I mean, everything. Except with the exception of my refrigerator. I bought everything Samsung.
Okay.
Everything has broken down.
Yeah, I used to have a Samsung
except
washer and dryer.
for
That
my dryer. And it still works, but it's got a noise, so it's coming. It's coming soon. Yeah. It does a little shaking thing.
Little rat-a-tat-tat-tat.
Yes, every now and again. Right.
Yeah.
So now everything's not matching, but I am aware, like your wife, like I don't buy things that have the major logos because I don't want it to look like that. Like I don't want.
So that's the question. Then. So basically what you're saying is you are like that. But
there's an exception.
There's an exception because if if what you're saying, if all the logos were shown and it was obvious,
I wouldn't.
You wouldn't like that,
right?
Right. Okay. I got
Correct.
You. I got you. Okay.
Correct. There's an exception to that rule.
Got you. It's not noticeable then. Yeah.
As long as it's not noticeable, I'm cool with it. If it is noticeable, I don't like that.
Got you.
That's it.
That makes sense.
So, okay, guys, I feel like we touched on a lot of news that's just out here. We really haven't gotten into the mortgage section, but now it's time for Exercise Your Knowledge. So if this is the first time that you're tuning in, welcome. But there's a segment where we ask a mortgage-related question at the beginning of the segment, and you have time to actually think about the answer to this question. We're going to dive into a different topic, but while we're talking about that second topic, we want you to think about the original Exercise Your Knowledge question, and we want you to try and guess and see if you know the answer to the question. We will later reveal the answer, but it's always good to kind of have those small tidbits in the back of your mind or kind of keep you up to date as to what's going on in today's market, or if you're in process of buying a home, something that you should potentially be aware of. I think it's always good to just know, right? So today's question is, if you are in process of buying a new home, is the buyer strictly required to use a certain lender, agent, title company or attorney, home inspector, or insurance company? Are you required to use a certain set of people? Think about that.
Yeah, that's a good question. That's a real good question. I know obviously we know the answer, but I feel like it is a misconception in our market, especially a first-time home buyer who has never had that experience before. All the different people that are involved in that home buying process, it could get tricky. So I think we'll definitely go over the answer to that a little bit later.
Think about the answer to that question.
Yeah.
I think it's a good one today.
Yeah, I agree.
So for today's topic, we want to dive into fees and what that means to you as the buyer.
Yeah.
This question may relate to your sellers, but of course we're on the buy side, so we're always looking to help our first-time home buyers, maybe our buyers who haven't purchased in a long time, maybe our frequent buyers. I mean, at some point you're always learning something new.
Correct.
So we want to jump into some of the fees that you would normally see when you're in the process of buying a new home.
Yeah. So when you're buying a home, the two fees that I see most often, it's a couple. I wouldn't say most often.
We see all the fees.
Yeah, we see all of them.
Right.
I can't even break it down to just two, but one of your big ones is your origination cost, right? So when buying a home, you're going to have a financial institution or a mortgage company or a lender who's going to lend the money to you, right?
Yep.
And so the way that they get compensated for, doing the loan for you, right, or issuing the loan for you, is they have some type of fee that they charge. And typically what it's called is called an origination charge, right? Now, the origination charge, it could be different. Sometimes companies have just a set amount like we do. Our set amount is $1,395. So it's $1,395, and that's what we charge as our origination cost. Now,
is that the fee for 2023?
That's what it is now. I know that's what it is.
Okay.
Yeah, that's what it is now.
I thought it was $1,095.
Yeah, I think it just went up, if I'm not mistaken.
Yeah,
I think it just went up.
Yeah, okay, that makes sense.
But yeah, so we mortgage companies, they charge an origination cost. Some of them it's a fixed amount. Some of them it's a percentage of how much they're lending you. It really just all depends when it comes to that. But you always want to be mindful of that because that could determine which mortgage company you want to use, right? So if you're looking at cost-effective things that's differentiating you from using one company to the next, you want to look at that origination charge because that is something that's going to be different between each company in most cases, right?
Correct. Some lenders will get even savvier and eliminate an origination fee and hike your interest rate.
There you go. Yeah. So that's why I said, I mean, you gotta you got to look at that loan breakdown or that cost illustration that shows all the different fees. And like I said, like Sophia just mentioned, I mean, that is a good understanding. Like, hey, sometimes you'll think that you're getting a reduction here in cost, but they're just building it into your interest rate.
And so
which
over
you're actually
time, you're paying more
well
money.
more than what it,
100 times more.
Yeah, well more than just what you're
whatever
paying
that fee would have been. So
exactly. And the second cost that I want to talk about is discount points. It's, to me, I feel like it's almost kind of misleading a little bit, especially for someone who doesn't necessarily understand what discount points are.
Yep.
So a discount point is it's a fee that lender is charging you in most cases for a reduction or rate. Is rate infused, right? So let's say, for instance, you're able to get, based on your credit and based on where rates are, you're able to get a 6.5% interest rate, right? But you want to get a lower rate, right? Let's say you're like, hey, I have a little bit more money saved up. I'm willing to put more into the cost of the loan to be able to get a better rate, so my monthly payment is more manageable, right? Or at a better spot for where you want to be. So what you can do is you could potentially have that lender charge a discount point, right? It's almost like making an investment into that interest rate. So it's like they'll put, and it could be, it's a rate sheet that we look at. It has different costs, so it's different per loan. It's a lot of different variables that's involved, but at least knowing what that discount point means, that's what it is. It's a charge that you're being charged to better your rate in most cases. Now, you'll have some lenders that will charge a discount point and it not have to do with the interest rate at all. They're just charging you discount points basically.
Because that's the best available rate at that cost.
Correct, exactly.
Yeah.
So it may not, in some cases, be for the betterment of the rate. It may just be that's the cost to get that rate. Maybe your credit's not the strongest, and so therefore there's a little bit more fees or costs that have to come with you being able to obtain that loan.
Or maybe it's even the property type.
Correct.
Maybe it's, that, okay, well, this particular product, like an investment property, is a little bit more riskier than a primary home.
Yep.
So we're going to go ahead and let you know that, hey, this rate does come with a cost.
Exactly.
So just be aware of the two fees and the difference in between them.
Correct.
Yeah.
And then also a third one is appraisal fee. I mean, that's pretty straightforward, on any deal that you're getting or any purchase that you're having where you're getting a mortgage, appraisal is going to be required by that lending institution or that financial institution. And so obviously a person is going to go out to the property, assess it, then they're going to, draw up a report, and they're going to have different, factors on why they feel the home is valued at what it is. And so therefore they're going to have to be compensated for doing that job. And so there's an appraisal fee. So we just, in that situation are, charging you the cost that they're charging us to be able to have that appraisal done.
Correct.
Yeah.
And hint, that is one of the fees you cannot shop for.
Yeah, you can't shop for that one. That's not one you can shop for, because that one is
that's set by the lender.
Yeah, exactly.
We do not have any say-so into who we use as an appraiser. I mean, as a loan officer, we can't even communicate with an appraiser. So that's definitely one of the ones you cannot shop for. Just a little hint.
What other fees we got, Sophia?
So we have the processing fee,
Yep.
Underwriting fee. Those are two fees that some lenders like to tack on to the cost of processing the mortgage. So a processing fee is for the process of the file, because it takes time for you to get to the close table. And people.
Yeah.
It takes, a whole team of people. If you think about, the how the mortgage process works, it starts off with, the platform, right? So you're talking about the mortgage application, where that system that we use to input all of your information, whether that's done by a person or whether it's done electronically. That's something that's the starting piece. Then it goes to your loan officer or your mortgage banker. Your mortgage banker may have an assistant. Then there's a processor. Then there's a processing assistant. Then there's an operation assistant. Then there's an underwriter. Then there's an underwriter assistant. then there's the closer. So it goes through all these different people just to get you to closing. So it's not just one person working your entire file during the time of your purchase.
Correct.
So there may be something called a processing fee.
Correct.
But then there also may be an underwriting fee.
Mm-hmm.
There may be a fee that's given to the underwriter for underwriting the fee, for
Correct.
underwriting the
file.
The file.
Yeah.
So, and it may not necessarily be directly to that underwriter. It just could be for the company to
Correct.
underwrite your file, to actually do it for you.
Correct.
So,
and one thing I will jump in and say is that one good thing that leverages our company is that we just charge a flat origination cost,
Mm-hmm.
right? Some of your other mortgage companies out there, like Sophia just mentioned, they'll charge you an origination cost, and then they'll charge you a processing fee, an underwriting fee,
discount point.
Discount point. Like they'll get you. Like, and so sometimes a buyer may not know that, right? So sometimes a buyer will look and say, okay, hey, this origination cost is cheaper over here than this one. And so they'll try to say, hey, this is a better deal, the one that's a cheaper origination cost. But if you really look at all the costs that are being, that are being tasked to you to pay when you're buying that home, sometimes you're getting hit with a fee here, a fee here, a fee here. And when you add all those up, that's more than a company who just may have a one flat origination cost, right? So you want to make sure that you understand that, what those costs are. Like, as in our company, like I said, we just have a one flat fee origination cost. So that origination fee takes care of all those different people who are involved in the transaction outside of the appraisal, because the appraiser is not with the company. They're an outside person.
That's correct.
Yeah.
So when you're buying a home, just make sure that you're aware. You take a look at that fee sheet so you can know exactly what you're paying for. Not saying that none of these fees are not important, but it's better to know. You always want to be in the know.
Correct. Yeah.
Of what you're paying for.
Correct. And another fee as well. I mean, every time you purchase a home, we have to check to see if your home is in a flood zone or not. Right?
True. Yeah, I forgot about that fee, and a tax service fee.
Yeah, and a tax service fee as well. So we have to confirm if your home is in a flood zone. And so there's a process that happens that allows us to be able to confirm if it's in a flood zone, so we know to have you shop for flood insurance, right? Because if your home is deemed in a flood zone by the FEMA map, then we have to have you have flood insurance, to protect your investment of your home where you're going to live, and also protect our investment as the lending entity that's lending your money for you to be able to purchase that particular set property. So that's another fee that you'll see pretty much every single time you buy a home.
Yeah.
And a credit report fee. I think that's another one also. Y'all just got to think about that one too.
They just keep jumping out.
Yeah, they keep. When you think about
no.
Yeah. Because obviously when you're buying a house,
when you're buying a house, there's going to be fees. Yeah, we gotta pull credit. We gotta have an appraisal.
Yeah.
The lender has to get compensated for actually processing this file for you. So those are things that are just going to happen.
Correct.
All right, so I think we went over a good chunk of what fees are. I mean, hopefully if you guys,
just want you guys to get familiar with when you're actually looking at a loan estimate or a closing cost breakdown. Like, I know sometimes, I know myself, like when I purchased my first house, I was doing what I'm doing, so it was a little different. But I know a lot of times, speaking to first-time home buyers, they don't necessarily know what these fees are and how they're being charged. So just having a basic understanding of what these different things are, I feel like will better equip you and so you know exactly where the monies are being paid to. Because sometimes you can look at your closing costs worksheet and it breaks down all the different charges, and it could be very overwhelming, right? So, being able to understand, at least your basic charges that the lender is charging you, that will at least better equip you for understand, okay, hey, this is what the lender's charging, this is what the settlement company's charging. When you combine both of those things together, you'll have a better understanding of what the totality of your closing costs are.
Yeah, so I hope that's a lot of great information for you guys. If you have any other further questions, you know how you can reach us. Social media, SKB Mortgage, SKB_mortgage, and then B Roy Star.
Yeah.
All right, so earlier in the segment, we guys asked you a really important question. That question was, is the buyer required to use a certain lender, agent, title company, or attorney, home inspector, or insurance company?
Want to do a drum roll?
Yeah, drum roll.
Okay. Yep, so the answer is no.
No.
Yeah, so
you are not required to use any of those, folks.
Keyword required, right? You don't have to do that. Now, a lot of times, because especially if you're a first-time home buyer, a real estate agent may have a lender that they work with typically.
Yep.
They may have a home inspector that they work with typically. They may know an insurance company that they work with pretty frequently. They may have a settlement company or title company that they work with pretty frequently, right? So they may have people who they have relationships with that they may say, hey,
I've had a good experience with these particular individuals, so I recommend them.
Correct. Yeah. So you could be recommended those folks, and just because of the relationship that they have, it could maybe make your process a little bit more seamless because of the relationship that's there, the communication that's already been established, all that stuff that could play a good role into the experience of you purchasing their home. But you're not required, right? If you have your own title company or your own, home inspector or some, home insurance company, like whatever that is, the ones that Sophia just mentioned to you are services that you can shop for. That's the key word. Those are people that you can seek out yourself. If you have somebody that you're more comfortable, working with, that feel that's going to have your best interest at heart, you're more than welcome to pick those folks.
Exactly. So if you, are a first-time home buyer, most likely you're going to go with whomever you're recommended to. I mean, even for me today, there are certain things that I don't know where to start.
Yeah.
So what do? We lean on others for recommendations.
Yeah.
If I want to go get my hair braided, and it's been a while, and my old tech doesn't do braids anymore, I'm going to rely on someone to recommend me.
Yeah.
So that's typically how that process goes.
Yeah.
But you're not required to use a certain lender, a certain real estate agent, and the list continues.
Correct.
But you are required to use a certain the appraisal from the lender. You don't have any choice at that, or the credit report.
Yeah.
Has to come from the lender.
That's right.
So I'm hoping that that was some good information for you guys today, especially first time home buyers. Knowing that you can actually shop around is great, but sometimes shopping around might not always be the best idea either.
Correct.
So as long as you feel comfortable, that person is giving you knowledgeable, good information. I think that you should definitely use what's recommended, because I do all the time in every aspect. I mean, I didn't know what mic to buy, and guess what? I went to Best Buy. I was like, hey, what do you recommend? What do you see?
Correct.
And I didn't even know this person. It was just kind of like I was just lost.
Yeah,
it was
I think
my
a lot of folks,
first time.
That's one of
That's
the
a
bases.
given.
That's one of the bases of Google, right? I mean, Google and YouTube, like you go and you Google and YouTube, you look at reviews, look at recommendations, like
exactly.
That tells you, okay, so hey, what am I, when you're trying to make your decision, right? These are the different places that I go to look and see, okay, hey, what are some other recommendations out there, so I know, how to make my decision or who I'm going to go with when I'm deciding whatever I'm trying to decide. So
exactly.
Yeah.
All right, so what's coming up on the agenda? So tomorrow, myself, Bryan, and Laura, we have a home buying seminar. We're covering the whole day. Mine's is from 10 to 12 at 600 Lynnhaven, Suite 100. Bryan's is at 1 to 3 at 600 Lynnhaven, Suite 100. Laura's is in Newport News at the Keller Williams office. I do not know the direct address to that particular location, but if you go to my social media or Bryan's, you could potentially find it there. Tonight, I'm going to stop by a vision board party. My schedule is like jam packed today, so I won't be able to be there to finish the vision board party, but I will stop by trying to support some of the people that I work with.
That'd be cool.
And right after this, I actually have to go rekey one of my rental properties because one of my tenants moved out, so I'm definitely about to start getting that ready for me to put it back on the market for rent, looking for a tenant to occupy that space.
Okay. Investor.
Oh man, listen, it's a headache, but it's the what you call
necessary
it?
evil.
Yes.
Yeah. It's worth it. It's worth it though. I mean, you got to put that. Sometimes especially dealing with certain tenants and things like that. I mean, it could definitely become a headache, man. But I guarantee later on, whenever you decided to exit that situation, if it's for your kids,
it's gonna be profitable.
for your whatever.
100%.
I mean, it's gonna be worth it.
It's gonna be worth it. It's just, work. Anything can be a headache temporarily.
Correct.
You know what I mean? You're gonna go through the highs and lows of everything.
Correct.
I'm at the top of it, so
Yeah.
But it'll get better.
Yeah, for sure.
It's
for
just
sure.
a process of a little bit more work right now
There
that
you
I
go.
have to do. But that's it. I mean,
Yeah.
I'm with it.
There
That's
you
what I
go.
signed up for.
There
I
you
no
go.
need to complain.
There you go.
Yeah, and you got a couple things coming up.
Yeah, this weekend, what am I doing? I got
Onyx.
Yeah. So Onyx, one of our good partners, Cavell, he came on a couple episodes back. Our only guest we've had so far. his brokerage is having their Christmas party on Saturday. So definitely looking forward to that. They always have a good time whenever they have a party. You know, we mentioned we went to their Halloween party a couple months ago, a month and a half, 2 months ago. So definitely looking forward to that. Brooke and I will definitely be stepping out, having a good time for that.
Enjoy. Definitely. I will not be there tomorrow. I had plans and I found out a little last minute, like maybe a couple weeks.
I about to say, we all found out last minute about it. I got to get on Cavell for that, man. I found out about it like a week and a half ago.
Yeah, that's when I found out. So it's like, okay, I don't have time to go try and find a gown, and I'm not really big on wearing formal wear with braids, and then I already had plans to do something else, so it's kind of like, it's not something I cannot actually squeeze in to do. Yeah. Now, if it was something where I could wear my hoodie, then I could probably come, but unfortunately, we won't be able to make it this weekend.
Yeah, so I got that party going. Like Sophia mentioned earlier, we had the home buying seminar earlier that day. So definitely looking forward to that. We already got a couple of folks signed up, so it's always good being able to educate folks about the home buying process. It seems like a lot of times folks are surprised on how, I can say easy, but how it's not as hard as they probably thought it was, right? Especially first-time home buyers. So I'm definitely looking forward to that tomorrow afternoon, I should say. Sunday, we're actually doing some Christmas family pictures, so I'm looking forward to that as well. We typically do those this time of the year, and it snuck up on me this year because I totally forgot, and Brooke had mentioned to me, like, hey, we have, got pictures on Sunday. I was like, oh, okay, cool. So looking forward to that as well. And that's really all I got going. Just looking forward to the holidays, still on the high from my birthday last week. So,
Yeah. You got to celebrate the whole month of December.
There you go. I was about to say, I'm actually not one of those. I typically just celebrate on that day, or if it's a weekend, I may celebrate on that weekend.
Okay.
But I know folks, like you said, that, celebrate the whole birthday, the whole sign, whatever sign they are, they celebrate from the beginning of that time to the end of that sign is over. Like, it's a big thing. I don't know. I mean, I get it, but it just ain't me.
It's B's B Day.
There you go. Right.
Well, guys, we always like to end everything on a positive note. Yeah. So today's quote of the day, do you want me to take the honor? Would you like to?
Go ahead and rock.
All right. So as we go into the holiday season, we want you guys to remember that always give without remembering and always receive without forgetting.
I like that one. I like that one. That was good.
Yeah.
That was good.
Well, that's all the time that we have for today. Please follow me at SKB_mortgage on Instagram and Facebook.
Yep, I'm Bryan. So definitely follow B Roystar on Instagram and Bryan Royster on Facebook. Been posting some reels lately that's been getting a lot of positive feedback on the market. So definitely tap in and see what we got going on.
And with this first video, of course, you can follow us on YouTube. We're available on all platforms for you to be able to listen to us.
Stream and listen.
Yeah.
It's Let's Talk BS podcast, so you can easily type that in there. Even if you have to put with Sophia and Bryan, with Bryan and Sophia on there, you should be able to easily pull up and find us, man.
Yeah, I don't know how you got first. Oh, BS. Duh.
There you go. Yeah.
That's why.
Yeah, the man, the lead first, BS. Yeah, no. That's right. Yeah.
No.
Okay.
It's because of bullshit. No.
Oh, okay. Yeah. Okay. Yeah. You're right.
That's some BS, that's BS, right?
That is some BS, right?
That's literally what you call BS.
There you go. Right. Yeah. Yep.
Well, guys, thank you for listening to our podcast, and we will see you next week.
See you next week.